The HOA tried to bully me over a few harmless chickens I kept for my kids. So I turned my backyard into a licensed farm school, and now even their kids take classes here. If you've ever had an HOA, try to control your pets or your passion. Hit subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. Your support makes all the difference. It started like most ridiculous HOA stories do, with a letter. A printed notice folded neatly and stuffed into my mailbox, stamped with the red seal of the Heather Ridge Property Owners Association. It read, in so many passive-aggressive words, that I was in violation of Section 12 of the Community Code, unauthorized livestock. I laughed out loud because the livestock they were referring to were 3 small hens, Blossom, Sunny, and Coco, that my kids and I raised in a cozy, fenced coop in our backyard. My name's James Walker, and those chickens weren't just pets. They were therapy for my youngest daughter, Mia, who had speech delays and anxiety. Every morning, she'd sit by their pen, talk to them softly, and they'd cluck in reply. It was beautiful, till Karen happened. Karen, the HOA president, was the kind of neighbor who measured lawn height with a ruler and reported decorative pumpkins in off-seasons. She had seen the chickens over the fence and took it upon herself to launch a campaign of noise complaints, smell complaints, and even called animal control, who visited and left after seeing how clean and regulated the setup was. Still, Karen wasn't satisfied. HC rallied the board and pushed for a formal warning with escalating fines. I wrote back with veterinary letters, therapy documentation, and even a copy of the city ordinance that said up to 4 hens were legal in residential areas. But the HOA kept pushing. At that S when I decided. If they wanted to make it hard for me to keep my chickens as pets, I didn't keep them as something else. I filed paperwork, attended city council meetings, got certifications, and within 2 months, I turned my backyard into a fully licensed microfarm education space, the Feather and Root Learning Garden. We registered as a non-profit education site for children with learning and emotional challenges, complete with raised garden beds, signage, curriculum materials, and yes, licensed support chickens. Karen was furious. She stormed into our open house demanding to see permits. I handed her a folder 2 inches thick. She realized we had legal protection under state and city education codes. Her face drained. And when the local news showed up to do a story on our backyard farm school helping neurodivergent kids, she practically imploded. But it didn't stop there. As the community learned about the farm school, families began reaching out asking if their kids could attend workshops. We partnered with a local elementary school for weekend programs and hosted sensory-friendly visits for kids with autism. What started as a fight over 3 hens became a sanctuary. Our farm now includes a composting zone, a butterfly garden, an herb spiral, a shaded reading hut, and a kid-painted mural wall. Mia leads tours now, confidently telling visitors all about chicken anatomy and seed planting. The same HOA that fined me, they now list the Feather and Root Learning Garden as a community asset on their website. Karen tried one last stunt, reporting our small barn shed as an unpermitted structure, but we had the paperwork. Again, she finally resigned, claiming philosophical differences with the board, the new board president. She volunteers at the farm every Saturday. Blossom, Sunny, and Coco still cluck at sunrise. And every time I hear them, I smile. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's covered in feathers and changes lives. But the journey to that point wasn't as quick and clean as a 2-paragraph news headline. When I first got that notice, I didn't realize how deep the HOA clause could go, or how powerful it would be to stand up not just for chickens, but for the idea that a backyard can be more than turf and fences. Karen's pressure campaign went beyond letters. She walked up to Mia one day while she was feeding the hens and asked her, "Do you know these birds might have to go away?" It crushed her. That night, Mia didn't speak a word. She just curled up next to me in Diesel, our lab, and stared at the chicken pen through the sliding door. I told Amara, my wife, what had happened. She was furious. As a former school counselor and child behavior specialist, Amara understood the therapeutic power of routine, animal interaction, and outdoor learning. And the next day, she said 6 words I'll never forget. We not just keeping them, we regrowing them, so we went into action. I reached out to my brother Marcus, a landscaper and permaculture enthusiast. We tore up half the backyard and built raised beds. We laid down mulch, installed rain barrels, and built a shade canopy made of recycled materials. Every weekend became a building project. We sourced kid-sized tools. Amara designed educational signage, invited friends over and taught them how to build compost bins and plant native herbs. Mia helped design a colorful sign that read, "Feather and Root Learning Garden, where chickens and children grow." I'll never forget the first open house. The mayor's assistant showed up, special needs teacher from the local school brought to students, and Karen? She stood on the sidewalk, arms crossed, fuming. When the reporter from Channel 5 News asked to speak with the founder, I introduced Mia. She showed them around with confidence that made my eyes well up. Later that week, the clip aired during the evening news, and overnight, our story reached thousands. Families began emailing us. Teachers asked if they could bring students. Local nonprofits reached out for collaboration. Karen tried hard to find a way to shut us down, reporting us for zoning violations, noise complaints again, and even claiming we were running an unapproved business. But every time she attacked, we had the paperwork to back it up. Eventually, we secured not just a local license, but a state-level educational nonprofit designation. That meant funding, it meant grants, and it meant protection. What once was our little coop now had a chicken enrichment zone, a small greenhouse, and a sensory pathway with touch-friendly plants and sound chimes. We even hosted a chicken naming contest where local kids voted on names for 2 new hens. They chose Sparkle and Thunder. Today, our weekends are full of life. Kids laughing, volunteers planting, teachers giving lessons under the open sky. And Karen? Let's just say I haven't seen her clipboard in a long time. Our chickens still cluck every morning, but now they do it from the heart of a certified educational oasis. And as for the HOA, their rules now include an amendment. Support animals and registered educational livestock may not be restricted. Turns out, if you push too hard against something innocent, like a little girl's pet chickens, you might just end up sparking something that benefits the whole community.